Hello there, and welcome back to War Thunder. So today I'm showing you three vehicles, and let's go quickly over them because you can earn them currently in an event, and I want to talk you through if they are worth it or not. The LV-A4 is an American battle rating 1.3 light tank. It's a premium. It has a short 75mm and has extremely bad armor, and it is pretty huge. Then we have for the British the Swordfish Mark II, and how can you say no to a swordfish? And this one even has rockets, so not just a torpedo but rockets, but it's painfully slow. More on this in just a moment. And then obviously for the Soviets, how could it be different? We get the G5 TKA-106, which is really fast for battle rating 1.3, in particular 102 kilometers per hour. It has two heavy machine guns and also those tiny rockets. So I played some of them a bit, and I'll talk you through what I think about them. So let's get right into it. So let's begin with the tank. Let's begin with the LVT-A4, and this tank, well, let's start with the mobility. 250 horsepower strong engine for a 14.9 ton tank. That is not the worst, but also not the best mobility. Top speed is limited to 40 kilometers per hour, and in reverse it goes 5 kilometers per hour. It's not really maneuverable. It's also a pretty big vehicle, and it is susceptible to hull break, and it has only 6.4 millimeters of hull armor, and the best part of the turret is 38.1 millimeters of rolled homogeneous armor. So the thing is, it is very big, it's very spacious, and when it comes to solid shots, it can tank a bit more than your usual tank because it's so spaced out. There is a lot of emptiness, if you will, in this tank. On the other hand, you know, you can kill it with two shots, one in the turret and just killing the driver. Then we come to the firepower, and this tank has a 75mm short-barreled M2 howitzer. It fires a shell every 3.3 seconds, which is good, but has an abysmally bad 6 degrees per second turret traverse. That is bad, but it has fantastic 20 degrees of gun depression and 40 degrees of gun elevation. Now with the depression, I think it has it only over the side of the tank, because in the front you would hit your own hull. And yeah, as I said, hull breaking yourself is then probably not the best thing to do. So in this aspect, it is a bit limited. Now what ammunition types do we have? Well, we have an M48 stock HE shell, 10 millimeters of penetration, 381 meters per second muzzle velocity, which is not really great. Then we have the M64 Smoke Shells, and we have enough ammunition capacity to take a few with them to smoke up sniper positions, smoke up yourself, allies, etc. Again, 381 meters per second muzzle velocity. The most usable shell is the M66 heat round, and it is indeed pretty evil with 89 millimeters of penetration. So it's a bit better than, for example, the Panzer IV's heat round with 80 millimeters, but that's just nitpicking. So heat rounds are pretty powerful at this battle rating, as you can imagine, and you can hull break enemies with that. You can go straight through the majority of armor without really aiming, but at long range you have your troubles hitting stuff. And I think that all this combination is just has a cherry on top of it, and that is a 50 caliber heavy machine gun, which serves you well versus aircraft, etc. But here is the thing. Watch this hull break here. Yeah, let's just have a look where the shell actually landed, and it was off the tank quite a bit by a few meters, and it just, you know, a few fragments hit my hull, not even anything to mention about, and yeah, I got hull broken. But let's just have a look at how extreme it is, even at 700 meters to hit something. Oof! Straight into the ammo rack. That is satisfying. And again, here in return, let's watch this. Yep, hitting the wheel, hull breaking, that never gets old. So this thing is meant for trolling, it's meant for having a good time. And as usual, the 50 cal just saves you very often. Here my gun breech was knocked out, and you know, at this battle rating you can go through a lot of armor. Now what you see is at first unrelated tank, and this was the A13 Mark I, which is a British reserve tank, and I just wanted to cap to get some spawn points to then deploy the next vehicle in question, the Swordfish Mark II, in Tank RB, because for Air RB it's just not really what I'm talking about, and this hilarious scene was just absolutely fantastic. So I capped, and that's already enough spawn points exactly to get the plane into the air. But this Panther II hesitated a bit too much for my taste, and so let's see what we can do with this reserve tank going through the side of the turret and observe. Yes, he just didn't kill me with that. And yeah, now this gets a bit ugly. I think I'm dead, but I actually killed the loader here. I have 88mm of penetration, the irony, right? But I just can't kill him right there. And this tree and the driving model of the A13, it's absolutely abysmal. If you really want to have a laugh at Gaijin's quality control, that is one hell of a primary example. So finally we can make it around, and yep, that was actually a killing shot. God mode versus a Panther II. God save the Queen. And we are in the air, and yeah, this is then when the plane just gets into 6.7 matches and above. So the Swordfish Mark II, it is battle rating 1.0, it's a torpedo bomber, British rank 2 premium, and the income modifiers are not the best, and you have various different bomb load options, 4 250-pound bombs. You also can even use the version with 2 250s and 2 500-pound bombs. Or then there's also the Mark ii torpedo, 18-inch, and you know, you can drop it at 280 kilometers per hour or slower from an altitude of 105 meters or lower. Maximum speed in the water is 69 kilometers per hour. I tried to play naval forces, but it's just no, just didn't work. Even versus patrol boats, versus cruisers trying to sneak up behind an island, forget it. Proximity fuse shells and 40mm Bofors everywhere. But then there are two rocket loadouts. So first loadout is the AP Mark I, of which you can have 8 with up to 100mm of penetration, and even at 2 kilometers 76mm. So that is with 480 meters per second maximum speed on the trajectory, not the worst. But the one that I use are the RP3 rockets. You again have 8 of them and 350 meters per second with up to 60mm of penetration, and after you have gone through the semi-armor piercing effect, you're still there with 44mm of high explosive penetration. So that is pretty good. And there is a Focke-Wulf. I turn into him, and oh. Focke-Wulfs. So yeah, the great thing about this plane is that you, in the first run, can single fire those rockets. And again, versus top tier stuff, you know, when they are susceptible to hull break, you can hull break them and kill them. And sadly, you don't get the God Mode award with a plane killing a tank. I wonder why. Anyway, so here I'm in my final approach versus a BMP-1. I launched the first one, second one, and yep, that is a hull break by hitting the tracks in the front. Good stuff right there. As you can see, the enemy team has C and B, and then I tried a meme landing on C. The plane is very slow, it's very sluggish, and it doesn't retain energy and also doesn't get it back very quickly. You really have to make your first approach count, and I barely touched that tree, but you know, Stalin would. And then obviously RE-251, not even hitting him, but just splashing him, and that's enough for an ammunition explosion. And is that a Waffentrager? Yeah, let's see what we can do about that. So those single launching rockets allow you for 8 rocket launches. You just have to see it that it goes from left to right to left to right to left to right. And watch this kill. Oh, that's hilarious. So yeah, I had a pretty good time in this plane. That was actually then my last approach, and again I killed a BMP-1. So that is the LVT A4 and also the Swordfish Mark II. Those two I can actually recommend from the event. They won't make you the most civilized, they won't make you the most RP. It's more like to have them. They're collector's items, but they're nice, and it was not too difficult to get them. You had long enough time to play for them. But there is one thing remaining. There is one thing remaining. Ouch. Oof. That hurt. Yeah. Yeah, what about the ship? Playing Naval Forces in 2020? That's a tragedy on a grand scale. So at this point you would have to pay me for me to play that. It hurts me more to say that than it hurts you to listen to that. So sorry, but nope.